Now then everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to this video. This is going to be the first part in this series where I show you how to model a protein shaker in Autodesk Fusion 360. Before we start, don't forget to like the video, comment and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get started. So we'll start out with a blank Autodesk Fusion 360 document, and we'll just turn the origin on so we can see our planes and axes and stuff. So first thing what we're going to do is go to the front view, create a sketch in the XZ plane, and in this sketch what we're going to do is create the overall structure of the protein shaker. And what I like to do with my very first sketch is to try and get as much information and reference detail in there as I can, so then as I'm building the model later on I can reference all these points and they're already there, and it makes it a lot easier. So what I'll do now is I'll just sketch up this initial profile. I'll fast forward it a bit so you're not just stuck watching me sketch out a profile for a good 5 minutes, and then we'll cut back to once I've finished and I'll talk you through what I've done. So you'll see what I've sketched out at the minute is just the actual profile of the bottle itself, which will hold the liquid. So you'll see I've got a bit of a foot here where the bottle will stand, a little bit of a shoulder here or a collar for where the cap will screw onto, and I've just sketched out the actual wall thickness on what I want the bottle to be. And what I'll do now is I'll sketch on a reference profile for the cap as well, so I'll be able to see how it all fits together, and I'll be able to control the overall height, diameter and structure of the bottle from this one sketch. So you'll see here now what I've sketched on is just a little construction profile for the cap. You see I've got how close it needs to fit there, so we can put a thread on the internal surface of the cap and the external surface of the bottle there. So we've got how high it's going to go, how wide it's going to be, etc. What we're going to do later on in the model is cut out a few hand grips in the bottle, so we're going to sketch that into this sketch as well, so we've got that for future reference. So you'll see that's our finished first sketch now. So we've got this little finger grip profile sketching as well, so we'll use that later on down the line once we've got a bit further on with the model. So we'll finish that sketch. The first thing we're going to do is revolve the actual profile of the shaker, so we'll go to the Create tab and click the Revolve tool. So we'll click that outer profile that we first created. Make sure obviously your centre axis is selected, so it's revolving around the right axis. Direction one side only, it's a new body, and we'll click OK. So there we go, first bit done, large portion of it done already. You can see obviously we've got the main body already revolved, which was pretty simple because it's a pretty basic profile. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create these little finger grips on the sides there, so we'll start a new sketch on the XZ plane. What we'll do So if we hit P to project through some geometry, we'll project through these lines we created earlier. Click OK. Finish that sketch. And if we just extrude those now, profile, we've got our profile selected. We can start it from the profile plane because it's going to be symmetrical either side of the bottle. Instead of the one direction, we're going to change it to symmetric, so it extrudes the same distance front and back. The distance, that's fine, we'll leave that at that. The measurement doesn't really matter too much because all we're going to do is just drag that out, and that takes care of itself in terms of how far and how much it cuts away from the model. So that looks fine. Operations cut. We'll click OK. There we go, got our little hand grip there. And what we're going to do is go to create and then mirror. So we want to put one of these on the other side of the bottle as well. So instead of faces, we'll change the type to features. And we will select the extrude feature. You can either select it on your model or in your tree, depending on if it's quite difficult to grab it on the model. Mirror plane, we will use the YZ plane. Click OK. And there we are. We've got some nice little finger grips on there. If you wanted to change the depth or the size of them, all you would need to do is just go back into your original sketch. At the minute I've got 0.5 millimeter depth on there, so if I want to change that to 0.75, click OK, finish the sketch. That's updated that, so it's a little bit wider now. So that's pretty straightforward. Next thing what we're going to do is to emboss some markers for the capacity at each point on the bottle here. So what we'll do is construct a new offset plane. We'll select our YZ plane, just drag it out here. Doesn't really matter on the distance, just as long as it's outside this bottle so you can see what you're doing. Click OK. So if you select your plane and create a sketch on there. Now what we're going to do is use a variety of sketch geometry and text to emboss the capacity markers on here. So what we will do for starters is just put a rectangle vertically going that way. Just put some nominal dimensions on there. So we'll make that 1.5 millimeters thick by 130 millimeters long. That fits inside there, yeah, that's fine. And what we'll do is we'll now put some more rectangles on there to signify the different points on the capacity. So we'll do 5 of these. So we'll go from 100 to 500 milliliters. So we'll start by sketching out another rectangle here. 1.5 again. Let's put a nominal dimension on the length of it. Let's go for 6 millimeters. Why not? So to get the rest of them, what we'll do is create a rectangular pattern. So once we've clicked on the rectangular pattern tab, we'll just select the lines that we want to pattern. I'm going to change the number to 5. And instead of 0 millimeters in the distance, we will change that to minus 130, which is the length of the vertical one that was created. But you'll see I've just made a mistake. I've forgotten to take into account the actual width of the horizontal bar, so all we need to do is just take 1.5 off that. tell a lie, add 1.5. There we go, perfect fit. And we just need to change the number to 5. And there we go, got those on there. So we'll click OK. That's that sorted. So now all we need to do is just put the text on there. So we'll grab our text tool, create our first one, change the height to 3mm, 2mm, that should do, 100 ml, go for 1.5, why not, there we go. So yeah, 100 ml, that looks okay, click OK on that. Now we're going to do for these next 4 is just select it, move our copy, just drag that down there. I'm going to make sure we tick create a copy, and we're just going to drag the next one up there. Click OK. The placement doesn't matter too much. If you want to lock these down with dimensions, you can do, but for the sake of this video I'm not going to do that. So again, create a copy and just drag that up to the next one. There we go. So there we go, we've got all those sketched out there now, all our markers. So we'll finish that sketch, and what we will do next is go to the Create tab, click on the Emboss tool, and all we need to do now is to select our sketch profile. So make sure we get all the sketches we put on there, so every marker that we created, make sure to click them all, and we'll select our target faces, so which will be the finger grip that we just created earlier. The depth, we're going to change that from 2mm, we'll just make that 0.5 mm. There we go, pretty straightforward. Click OK. There we go, that's our markers on there. I'm going to put the same thing on the other side, and what we're going to have to do for this one is just to circular pattern it rather than mirror, because if we mirror it the text will be the wrong way around. So we'll go to create again, pattern, circular pattern, just select features again, select your emboss, your axis there. For quantity, obviously we just want 2 because there's going to be one on the other side there. Don't need to change any other options on there, so we'll click OK. And there we go, so the left and right sides have the capacity markings on now. Next, what we're going to do is just to put a simple thread on this little face here, so the cap and the bottle can screw together. So if we go to create, and we will choose the thread tool, just for the purpose of this video we're just going to keep all this these boxes as per they are when you just select the tool to start with. So we'll just select the face that we want the thread to go on. We'll put it as modelled on there, so you can see the nice thread that it puts on there. If you did want to put a specific thread on there, you can do. This is more kind of suited for nuts and bolts. If you wanted to kind of model a specific thread on there, you can do, but for the purpose of this, just a quick model. If we want it for rendering purposes or whatever, it should be good enough. So we'll click OK on that. So that's fine on there. So that's the end of the first video in this series. I hope you enjoy watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on part 2 where we'll be creating the first part of the cap. Cheers!